I'm trying not to talk about it. I don't want to make Ivy too jealous.
Crossed my fingers twice.
We have not turned on
There we go.
computer in over a year, so we might have some technical difficulties, but it's probably like, if we can get the TV working, the batteries have probably rotted out of the remote control. So,
Okay.
I was thinking
Well,
about that
maybe-
this morning.
I don't know if you're free after this. Before the
Yeah, we did.
Well, the way it's looking, we
I have a
won't have
call-
an excuse.
Yeah, I have a call
to
with
fall,
Josh.
fall in here pretty
It
quick.
should
right?
only be like a
No,
half
the
an
no
hour.
mask mandate.
Yeah, well, you know, we're seeing,
But if you wanna go, like, I would at least reboot the computer if it's still on.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it
Well,
hasn't
and
been used
they
in
just
so
came
long.
out and said, in a meeting like this, if everybody's vaccinated, you don't have to.
anyway, since we'll probably need it.
I think they only said 4 things, like buses,
Like, what was the other thing? Oh, people came in,
jails.
Hospitals.
shut down, and none of their pen, like, all their pens and markers had dried out. It was like the funniest thing. It was like, you don't think, like, just let them sit there, they'll be fine, but you come in, none of the pens.
Can you hear me? Are we unmuted?
Yes.
Ready to run.
Okay, thank you. One of my clocks says 9 a.m., one says 8:58, so let's go. Good morning. I would like to call to order today's Energy and Environmental Committee. I'm Mavis Bates. It's 9 o'clock. Would you please call the roll, clerk?
Wonicky,
Present.
Allen,
Allen, present.
Caius,
Vice President.
Molina,
Molina present.
Strathman,
Present.
Pirog, Shepro, Bates.
Here, present.
You have a
Thank you
quorum.
very much. So I would like to approve the minutes. Could I have someone, a
Caius
motion?
move.
Thank you, Mr. Caius. Second.
Wonicky seconds.
Thank you, Ms. Rowanicki. Could we please take the roll?
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Caius,
Vice, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Wonicky,
Yes.
Bates.
Bates, yes, thank you. I would like to turn the floor over to Ms. Wolnick for environmental.
Really quickly, we had been providing updates for the committee on our watershed groups as well as our water supply planning. Over the last few months, we've had really busy meetings, and so we dropped those off the agenda. But next month, we will begin doing that again. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on that.
Okay, thank you. That leaves more room for our recycling report for today. Okay, great. Miss Jarland, Jennifer Jarland, would you like to begin your presentation on your annual recycling report?
Thank you so much. So this is a report that I do every year, and it'll take about 20 minutes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the numbers that I'm going to share. This is the contents of my presentation today. I'll do an overview of the programs, talk about the curbside program in Kane County, the 2020 data, and an opportunity to volunteer for the events this year, talk about the ordinance enforcement, special partner programs, public service and outreach, and some of the numbers there, and the successful Kane County Connects articles. And then I will also talk about a few new things that are happening this year. So these are the programs that the recycling office is doing currently. We do household hazardous waste programs, electronics recycling, book recycling, clothing and textile, document shredding, the extravaganza each July. And that's where we recycle everything we possibly can on our monthly collection event. We do compost bin sales and internal county building recycling programs. I also manage the Mill Creek curbside collection services, and am, just on a side note, currently reviewing that contract to go out to bid at the end, mid-year this year, in the next couple months. I do a lot of education and outreach with the Green Guide and the website, Kane County Connects, and the newsletter, as well as just tons of phone calls and emails. Other projects are the Kane County Solid Waste Plan that we just completed. Now it is to the point of implementing all of the recommendations in that plan. Hauler licensing and data collection, which Courtney Meyer helps me with, and ordinance enforcement, state group collaboration. And there's other things as well, like the new circular economy project that I'm working on, but that's it in a nutshell. So looking at the curbside collection residential municipal programs here. So this is all of the cities and how they're doing. A 34% diversion rate, meaning 34% of what they're putting out at the curb is actually being recycled and or composted as organics. The rest is trash. That's not a bad diversion rate, really. When you look at the national levels and even the Illinois levels, it's pretty good, but always room for improvement. So I always like to do these, just a lot of numbers here, but basically the paper and containers, the recyclable materials, 61,691 tons, which is up from the numbers in 2019. And then 24,736 of yard waste were collected. But as you can see, much more trash was also sent to the landfill, so 165,000. So when I convert that into what would fill a train, and this is with these containers here, and my little calculation is at the bottom, but just to make it a little bit more digestible and something you can picture, the train that holds all of the recycling and compostable materials would be 134 miles long, and the train that holds the trash would be 257 miles long. For the year's worth of material coming out of Kane County homes.
May I ask a question? Does this, is this the whole county or just unincorporated, or?
It's actually not unincorporated. This is just because of the way that I receive my numbers from the haulers when they report. It's easiest just to grab these numbers that are for the contracts held by the municipalities and the townships. Some of the townships are, of course, unincorporated areas, but there's only 4 townships that hold these kinds of franchise agreements. So those are the numbers that it's representing, is these numbers that are reported by the haulers.
So this is most of Kane County then?
Yeah,
Good.
171 households, 171,000 households, yes.
Okay, all right, thanks.
So I just broke this down a little bit. Again, looking at the total residential discards, including trash and recycling, it's about 8 pounds a day per household. And the landfill trash alone is 5 pounds of that. And so, and then again, just a picture, the Grays Lake recycling facility processes an equivalent of 400 train cars a week of recycling. So much recyclable material going through there. It's incredible how much they can process, but really they are overwhelmed. And so we want to reduce our trash. We also want to reduce our consumption altogether if we can, and look at how we can, use less packaging, even if it is recyclable. So the message here that I'm always repeating is to rethink your purchases, rethink your trash, try to reduce and minimize what you are putting in the trash can or the recycling bin for that matter. Reuse, repair, share, all of those things are so important. Here's some of the data from the recycling events and the drop-off locations that we have, the 2 recycling centers in Batavia and West Dundee. We refurbished, reused, or recycled 378 tons of material in 2020. That was down a little bit from 19, but that's also because we had to cancel a couple of events last year and we just didn't bring in as much. Also, our recycling center shut down for a month to 2 months. And these are the numbers there. We recycled 330 tons of electronics. And those numbers in gray are the 2019 numbers, so you can see how it compares. Went down slightly. 33 tons of books, of which about 10% are reused and the rest are sent for recycling because they're just beyond use. They're pulp fiction and or old encyclopedia sets, that sort of thing, and just old, worn and torn books. 15 tons of latex paint. And then also the number of residents served are written there too. And then last year we didn't do any document shredding. We didn't hold an extravaganza due to COVID, but we did run several of our events. This is the electronics recycling program data across the last 5 years. And you can see the red bars are the pounds, and those are numbered on the left-hand bar, and then the number of vehicles on the right-hand bar there, and that's the blue line. You can see they pretty much follow each other, but the pounds per car are going down, and that's because the material is getting smaller and lighter. The electronics are shrinking. Our cell phones are getting smaller, computers are getting smaller, TVs are getting smaller, and that's why the pounds are down. This is the household hazardous waste information, and there are 2 programs represented here. It's the Naperville Hazardous Waste Facility that is open every weekend to all Illinois residents, and then the Household Collection Program that is for Kane County's northern 6 townships, plus Mill Creek, Batavia, and Geneva, because those communities contribute to the program and are wrapped into it. These numbers here do include Elgin as well, the city of Elgin, which is not part of the Kane County's program, but it's an identical program that they run through their hauler contract. So I include these numbers. They've just traditionally been included in the annual numbers as far as how much household hazardous waste is being collected through the home collection program each year. And this year it was 81,000 pounds from 1,600 households. And then Naperville, 76,000 pounds were delivered from Kane County residents, from 2,600 county residents. And then here's some of the numbers, and you would have seen these recently in a presentation I did to this committee on the household hazardous waste. I did a review a few months ago. And so this is a little bit of duplicated information, but I just wanted to share it here to be thorough. And that bottom graph is one that I like because it really shows you the difference between, okay, so Naperville, a lot of pounds, but not so many users, right? So there's, sorry, it's the other way around. So let me just get my thoughts straight here. I think something's mislabeled on this.
The
Well,
point that
you're comparing the facility to the home collection.
I am, and the point that I'm trying to make, and I guess I'm not explaining it very well, but that with the home collection program, people are able to recycle a lot more pounds per user because they're not going anywhere. So they're actually like collecting a whole lot more material per user through the home collection program than the Naperville facility. So I feel like something got messed up with that, but sorry, I'm not a numbers
But does the Naperville facility take a lot more things than the home pickup? Or is it all, the household hazardous waste is from the homes as well?
It's the same materials. It's just that the Naperville facility has more people visiting, but less pounds. And the home collection has less people, but more pounds. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So it's
More
just a
pounds
really,
per person of
that's right.
hazardous
It's a
waste.
great program because it just helps people, you know, elder people, people without vehicles, people with disabilities to get rid of their materials in a safe manner and really clean out the garages and basements. All right, so the recycling events, these are just some fun pictures of our recycling events to show you how great it is and maybe encourage you to volunteer because I am still looking for some volunteers for a few of these events. The dates there at the top, the shred event on the 26th of June, the extravaganza on the 10th of July, and the shred event on the 23rd of October. I'm still very light on volunteers that have currently signed up for those. So if you are available for any of those dates, please let me know.
I'll volunteer. I'll
Great.
volunteer, Jennifer.
For all of them?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
The first one, I think I can do the first one at least. Sure,
Okay.
why not? I'll
And
do all of them.
please spread the word to anyone you know, because what I really need help with, especially in the shred events, is people who are able to lift the boxes out of the cars and tip them into the carts. I need a big crew of people doing that. And the more people, the less work it is for each of us, because if there's less people, we all just work so hard to get it done. So I just want to get a whole bunch of people so that I can have maybe shifts even. And so please spread the word. And it's there from 8 to noon at 540 South Randall. That sheet that is shown there, that document is available on the county website on the events page. You can click on it, you can download it, and it sort of has a job description there and the hours and the location and everything. And then just email me or have whoever you talk to email me if they can volunteer.
I think you need to update your pictures. Sanchez isn't on the committee anymore. Is he still volunteering? I hope.
You know, I haven't got him down for any of my events, but I should reach out to him actually.
There you go.
I have his number. I'll text him.
Ms.
So if
Bates,
any of you know any, oh, go ahead.
Ms. Bates, this is Tom Copey. I would like to volunteer for that shedding event. I am curious about, sorry about the beeping. I'm curious about how the processes work. Thank you.
Great. We got 2 volunteers in one day. Caius, what are you doing on 6/22, 6/26?
I think I'm going to be in Montana, but
You got a good excuse.
I'm looking at my calendar right now about the other 2.
Anybody? Cheryl? Okay. Now,
I was just about to say if any of you know any. I'm sorry, who was that?
Cheryl Strathman is looking at her calendar.
Oh,
I
okay.
might be available.
Okay, great. This cuts into my ukulele band time, Jennifer, so this is a sacrifice. Please continue with your report as at will.
Okay, I was gonna just add that if any of you know any football teams that are looking for service hours or things like that, that would be great if you can send that information my way, because we can then have a mutually beneficial exchange.
I'm going to continue this conversation for just another second. Did you the pot store in North Aurora, I'm sorry, I don't know their correct name at the moment. They wanted to volunteer for this. They were at our Sierra Club cleanup day for Earth Day, and they love to volunteer. I forget their name, but we
Life.
can find it out. What?
Very life.
Verilife? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I gave her my card, but she didn't have a card, but,
Okay, great.
and Myrna, do you have the name of the boxing club?
Jesse Torres. That
Yeah,
one?
they love to volunteer too.
There's your muscle, Jennifer.
Yep.
Yes,
Boxing
please.
club.
That's
I
great.
can-
Please,
I can
please
help you.
email me.
I can help you with those later, Jen.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mavis. Fantastic. All right. So just quickly, this is a very small part of what I do, but it is the ordinance that requires recycling in Kane County, requires owners of apartments and multifamily or, multi-unit buildings to provide recycling to the tenants. Also applies to businesses that they need to provide recycling for their staff and for their places of business. And so I do enforce this ordinance when a complaint comes in or someone reports, I work in this complex and no one here recycles. Can you help? I said, absolutely. There is a law that requires it. I will contact the management and let them know that there's an ordinance requiring them to do so. And then we go through the process of just exchanging a few emails, explaining things to them, and then helping connect the dots with their hauler and making sure that they get recycling service put in place. And in 2020, it was a little slow. Obviously, all of us were working remotely. Plus, I wasn't super keen to go marching out and tell everybody they had to spend more money on their services at a time when businesses were struggling. So it was a little quiet. Usually I do more like 16 to 20 cases in a year, but in any case, there were a few. And that's always great to report that now all of these senior living facilities and apartment complexes do have recycling available. Oh, and that information, if you're interested, is all on the county website. Those are just some examples. You go down to the waste and recycling haulers section on the homepage and all the ordinance info is right there. There's a couple other programs that, excuse me, I just got to get rid of this so I can see my slides in front of me. Okay. So these are programs that we provide for our municipal and township partners. We have a tire recycling for governmental partners each year that is funded by the Illinois EPA. And we do that in fall each year. Right now, I've got an email into the IEPA to make sure we have funding to do that again this year. There was one year once where they didn't have the funding because they had a big cleanup that they had to do and it sucked all the funds. But usually we've had one. And that's just a great benefit to our municipalities because then they can get rid of them for free and they're disposed of properly. And that's for all the tires they pick up on the roadsides and in parks and whatnot. Same with electronics. People do still dump electronics into ditches and on the roadsides. And so our government partners, the public works departments, the highway divisions of the townships do pick things up on the roadsides, and we allow them to, through an email process, they just email us to get authorization, and then they can take it to one of our recycling centers for free. They don't have to pay for the TVs. And that just all gets absorbed under our contract with eWorks. So that's another money savings for our government partners. So again, just so much public service involved in recycling with presentations and the website information that I am consistently updating. Nearly every week I go in, maybe multiple times, to update something with new information. So thousands of people are served through the public response coming out of the recycling office. I did only 5 presentations in 2020, but reached over 400 people, did 2 interviews, radio/webinar type of interviews, did over 50 articles in the Kane County Connects press releases in local papers. So the web pages are really, really well visited. I remember years ago, IT telling me that it was the most visited page on the county website after taxes and employment, depending on the time of year. So it's great. I love to see that people are looking into it. I'm really happy to see these numbers that the electronics accepted and not accepted page had that many views, because that means people are actually looking to see what is it we accept and what we don't accept. And recycling centers is a new page. We used to have it all combined in with the events, because it was originally under electronics recycling, and we had these different options. But then we realized it was kind of like the events are one thing and the recycling centers are another. So we split that page off. And in the last year since we created that page, already 12,000 views. Household hazardous waste, people are looking for that a lot. And then the homepage. It's interesting that that number fell so much, but I think that's because people are getting more direct links to the information that they need because of how Google works. So that's great. And we have now got nearly 4,000 subscribers on the Kane County Recycles Constant Contact email list, which is up from 2.5 the year before. So it's growing quickly. People really do want to do the right thing. I love it. Here's some Kane County Connects numbers that I got from Rick. As I said, over 50 articles, over 100,000 people clicked and read recycling articles in 2020. And the top 5 articles alone garnered over 22,000 clicks. And in your packet, those links I think are hot. So you can go ahead and look at those top articles. They were for the extravaganza event. Also for, which I said we didn't have an extravaganza, but we still called it the extravaganza because it included paint. But we didn't do the bikes and the batteries and the foam and all that other stuff. Anyway, the PPE COVID recycling tips article got 5,000 views. And then bags, plastic bags, what to do with those. There's 2 articles there. One, I think, says from 2017. That's interesting. That's that, I thought there was a pointer on here, but there's not. So but the number 4 there. And I think it's because it was linked in the article with bags and people hit it again. And we're rereading what to do with bags and how you can't put them in your recycling bin. So all of this is very, very great that so many people are reading these articles. Here's just a list of other things that are happening, building collaborative partnerships and sharing best practices with my fellow county program coordinators and state level work as well. So just a quick list of some of the other associations that I'm involved with. On the bottom there, the Illinois Environmental Council says pending membership, but that is actually now a membership we have, so that I can, I'm on their listserv now to get legislative updates that I am sharing with Chairwoman Bates and Jody, my director, so that we're staying in the loop there. And then the Circular Economy Partnership, Knowledge Partner, we joined this effort, which is a larger regional effort that includes part of Canada, all around the Great Lakes. And nothing really has happened there, but I'm expecting it to kick off in the coming year, that we'll be working on solutions for, getting plastic somehow more sustainable. So closing the loop on plastic waste.
Madam Chairman, this is Alan. Madam Chairman.
Yes, Ms. Allen. Mhm.
Thank you. Jennifer, can you go back one? I know that you've been involved in food scrap legislation and trying to get it available to all of us. And I'm seeing their board chairman. Have you moved through the ranks so that you're now in charge of that committee?
Oh, I've been the chairman of the Food Scrap Coalition for a few years now. And actually, they just had elections. I am the chairman again for this year until next May, but I have given them notice that this is my final year as chairman, just because it's a lot of work, and I'm ready to pass it on to someone else. But yeah, I mean, that's a real passion for me, for sure.
Thank you for doing that for us.
Nikki here. Is Mill Creek still doing food scrap?
Yes.
Okay, and it's successful and it's working out. That's wonderful.
Yes, it's interesting because I'm just, as I said, reviewing that bid, that contract right now in expectation to go out to bid in near the end of June. And I'm looking at that piece of the contract and just seeing where I can maybe require or request a little bit better data on that, because it is very difficult to measure because it's included in with the yard waste. People can put
Right.
food scraps in their yard waste container. So there's no real way to measure how much food scrap there is, but I'm hoping to put a requirement in there in the reporting section that says, please estimate to the best of your ability the ratio of food scrap to yard waste in those bins, so that I can hopefully get a little bit better number. What we do collect now is how many residents have chosen option 3 in the contract, which is the 3-cart all service, meaning they've probably gone to that 3rd cart, the organics cart, so that they can include food scraps in it, because that's part of the requirement. You can't put it in the bags. You have to have a cart to participate. And that number has grown quite a lot over the last 5 years. So that's something I've captured. Yeah.
Jennifer, so I live in Aurora and I don't have that service. Is it completely up to the municipalities to do this service, say in Aurora?
Yeah, at this point in time, I mean, in Illinois, it's mostly all of the programs that are provided are municipal programs. And they're through the hauler contract, through the curbside contract, that you have to write it in as a piece of that in order to get that service. And there are now 60 communities in Illinois who do have that.
So we have to nab the next contract. No one, it's okay. All right, thanks.
That's where it has to be for now. That's the way that's been found successful. And often there may be a small price increase, but often they are able to do it at a minimal increase, because it is a ride-along program, meaning the food scraps go in with the yard waste that is already being hauled. The price increase comes in because sometimes the hauler has to change where they're taking it, because not all compost facilities accept food scraps. So that might include a little bit more mileage on the transport and things like that. So
that doesn't include any meat products, does it?
all the programs are a little bit different.
Okay, if it's too hard of a question.
It's a longer conversation, but it can include meat products.
Sometimes have long answers, so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so here's some news for this year. This is current year program news. We have a one-day collection event for household hazardous waste coming up, and this is the kind of the third prevalent model for collecting household hazardous waste. As you saw on the previous slides, there's the Naperville permanent facility. We have a collection program in Kane County, which is great, but then also the IEPA does have funding to hold one-day events. And so they are funding this event, and the county, Kane County, DuPage County, and the city of Aurora are all coming in with volunteers and partnering in that way to run this event. It is a free event for residents. Now, I didn't get it included on this slide, but if you look online right now, you're going to see that registration is required. In fact, a blog will come out today at noon and in the Monday newsletter outlining this, but we are taking registrations for this event so that we can try to control the traffic flow and also not to have it overflow. So we're able to serve, sorry, my brain is not doing well with numbers right now. Give me just a second. So we're going to be able to serve, I think it's 1,300 people during this event. That's what we've estimated. So City of Aurora has a scheduling system, and they are taking this on so that they can schedule, divide that by the 6 hours of the event and then put them, or 7 hours, and then put them into each hour so that people come kind of consistently. Mm-hmm. And there is a limit. So just make sure if you're sharing this with anyone, let them know they have to go online and register in order to come through the event. And it's free, but you have to have a registration.
That's on the Aurora website, City of Aurora website?
I can't guarantee that. They said they were going to put it up
They
there,
said
but
it?
it's on the
Okay.
Kane County website. Yes,
Okay.
I can guarantee you that. And it's,
Okay.
if you go to Kane County Recycles and then scroll down to where it says hazardous waste, click there, click on one day event, and you can get to the poster that's displayed here with all of the accepted and non-accepted items and all of the details and the registration link.
Great.
So circular economy is a topic you may or may not have heard this term. And so I'm going to explain it just for those of you who may not have heard it. It's been floating around for quite a few years now within my industry, in the materials management industry. And it's just talking about, we really do live in a culture that is take, waste, and it's gone. Make, take, waste, that's the term. And so it's a linear process. And this is talking about looping it back around and feeding these materials back into the process. Recycling is the most perfect example. Composting also, returning those nutrients to the soil so you can grow more food that you eat and then put the scraps back in the soil. It just goes round and round, right? No waste. And so this is an image that I got from the European Parliament that just shows very clearly how that cycle works. And it does include all steps through from the manufacturing, from the extraction of the minerals and the materials to the manufacturing, to the distribution and the consumption, and then also recycling and repairing, sharing, all of that, and then returning everything we can back in to minimize what we're throwing in the landfills. It's talking about design as well, and designing our products and packaging so that our products are more repairable and more reusable and more durable, and then packaging, trying to make it more recyclable or eliminating packaging altogether if possible, because it is out of hand. Packaging is so out of control, and
so
most of it
annoying.
is not recyclable.
Right.
So
This is cradle to cradle, right?
yeah, there's another term.
Cradle to cradle.
Exactly. Yep. And so in Kane County, when we were writing the solid waste plan, we included an element there as a recommendation to just engage in discussions with our surrounding counties, with statewide organizations to, tap into best practices, and, even national organizations really. But the recommendation in the plan says that we're going to engage in these discussions regarding development of a circular economy here in Kane County and regionally, and try to bring together the stakeholders, the manufacturers and the businesses who can maybe connect the dots. Like one man's, trash is another man's treasure. So hopefully there can be some connections made and say, oh yeah, you're discarding a bunch of vinyl signage stuff. Well, we can take that and use it and make these big carry bags that we use or whatever, things like that. And so we just are planning now a forum this fall, and it's going to be an online event that's hosted by Kane County. And I met with Blair the other day in the auditorium and to talk about how that would all work with Zooming this event, and which could be a very, very large event. We could have hundreds of people attending, really. The date is easy to remember, and it's the 9th of September at 9 a.m. It will be a 2 or 3 hour forum, so it's kind of a big one, but a lot to cover. And I've got a committee together that I invited from the community, experts in recycling and zero waste, and people with connections to the other organizations like the League of Women Voters and other networking groups. So I'm just looking here in my notes for the.
And we picked it because there's no board meetings that day. Remember, that was part of the 9/9.
Exactly. So yeah, so the agenda will run something like, that we'll have an overview of what circular economy is. We'll bring in the partners, so some of the national partners and the Great Lakes Circular Economy Partnerships, who are kind of leaders in the area. Then we'll have presentations on a few different topics that are going to, include the reduce, reuse, repair, share, recycle, the economic benefits and the job creation of the circular economy. And then we'll do case studies, hopefully from Kane County manufacturers and businesses, and just try to show a real life connection with people who are involved in the process. And so Flat Can, who does our spray can, aerosol can recycling at our events, is probably going to be one of the speakers, because they're just a really exemplary company that is closing the loop, and they're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And that's been their intention all along, to figure out when they sell a spray can to a construction worker to mark on the concrete, well, what happens to that at the end of life? We'll take it back and we'll get it recycled, and not just the can, but the contents of the can and the nozzle and the plastic lid. We're going to recycle everything. So they're just a great example. And I'm hoping to work with Chris Toth upstairs as well, to reach out to his contacts in the world of commerce in Kane County and try to gather more great case studies. And I'm going to finish up here real soon. So just bear that in mind, that that's coming up. Please mark that date on your calendar so you can attend. And if you're interested in joining the planning committee, we're just going to meet monthly for an hour, just so that I can have a lot of other minds working on this with me.
Jennifer, do you know about West Rock Shredder? Have you ever heard of them? They
Yes.
Do you know about them?
Yeah.
Let's get them. They've been kind of closed down for the pandemic, but
I know.
at least to consumers.
I've been trying to reach them. That's who we work with. Our book recycling, our books that go for recycling go to them.
Great.
Yeah. So, and then this is my last slide. I just wanted to let you all know that we've been working on getting a third location for recycling in Aurora. So that number 3 is just like our third recycling center. And we are almost there with that. We did, the board, as you all are probably aware, just passed that agreement. We are working out the last few kinks and haven't yet officially announced the opening date, because we're just waiting on a couple of things, particularly their certificate of insurance and also just another meeting there to figure out all the logistics. It'll be soon.
He was at our Earth Day cleanup day too, as was Myrna. But he is so enthusiastic. You gotta like calm him down once in a while. But he wants to do everything, especially this recycling.
Who are you referring to? Marvin?
Vet Tech.
Is that Marvin?
Myrna, do you remember his name? I don't think.
Or Michael. Okay.
It was Michael.
It was Michael. Yeah, he's great.
He wants to help veterans. He wants to help the environment. He wants to help. So.
Yeah. Definitely. They're very eager for this partnership too. It's just going to be win-win-win, because it's eWorks, who's a nonprofit, they're a nonprofit, and the county working to provide this amazing public service. So we're all very excited. And that may change the event schedule for 2022, because if we have more permanent sites, we are not required by the state law to have as many events. So it may change the event. I just thought I'd mention that there may not be as many events coming up, which is great, because that'll save some of the funds, and it provides actually a more convenient opportunity for people to recycle electronics. And that's the end. I should pass it on. So if any of you have other questions, you can email me or call me anytime.
Thank you. I feel like we asked all our questions in real time, but does anybody else have any questions for Jennifer? Thank you, Jennifer. This is such an exciting program. I love recycling, and especially the reduce reuse part of it. That's a lot of education though. Okay, now we'll turn it over to
Madam Chairman, it's Alan.
Yes, please, Ms. Allen.
Just want to butt in for a second. I want to thank you guys for the wonderful series of Earth Day articles. Madam Chairman, the Earth is a spaceship was just inspired, and lovely writing. And Jody did the recycling of the family heirloom. That was fun to read. And Jennifer, I know you did a lot of the heavy lifting on that. It was a great series. Congratulations to all of you who worked so hard on it.
And Ivy did
Ivy
our
did.
culmination, our big Earth Day wrap up. So thank you so much. Ivy Clee did a lot of the work on that. So
Yeah,
I'm
not
very
me.
proud of her.
It's Ivy. Ivy deserves all that credit.
Thank you. But I also had everyone's help. So it was a great series. Thank you so much.
We-
It
And
was, thank you.
I couldn't have done it without Mavis either. She was awesome. And we got a lot of great feedback from that as well from the public. So yeah, we're happy to reach the public.
And it was so much fun too. But thank you, Miss Allen, for saying that. I appreciate it.
You
Okay.
betcha. Thank you.
Now, Miss Ivy Clee will tell us about the multi-use building proposed solar project.
Yes, so
Go ahead,
today I'm
Ivy.
going to give some updates on the multi-use building solar project. Oh, sorry, wrong way. Okay, so our department, in coordination with purchasing, has sent out an RFP, a request for proposal to seek out solar vendors who are interested in this project. So we're working with Arnie Schrammel with Save with Progressive. He spoke at a previous E&E committee meeting on the solar project. So just so that you all are aware, this request for proposal is different from other RFPs that we have put out. It's not binding. The purpose of this RFP is to gauge interest from solar vendors in this specific project in the site area, and also to get some more information from them on specifications and also pricing and cost of labor for the project. So the idea is more so to gather information than it is for us to have a permanent tie to the proposal. So if anyone would like to do a site visit for the multi-use building proposed solar project, please reach out to Mavis or myself. Mavis, I know, has done a bunch of site visits. So please reach out if you're interested in going to the site and learning more about the project. I'll continue to give updates on the RFP as well as, so once we close the RFP, we're going to work with Arnie to have more detailed in-person meetings with the solar vendors that are interested in the project. So we'll have some more personal conversations as we gather more information.
Ivy?
Yes.
Ivy? So this RFP includes the other acres too, right? It's all one RFP?
Yes.
Okay.
It's all within one RFP. I believe total is 8 acres.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And then next, our electric aggregation contract renewal happened this week. We reviewed bids on May 11th. I am at liberty to discuss who was awarded the contract renewal, correct? Okay. So we worked with Sharon Durling, our NYMEC consultant, to review the bids. And based on the bids we received, we went with Eligo Energy. We awarded them a contract of 24 months, so 2 years. So based on the previous E&E meeting in May, the board members discussed, we were most interested in bids that came back with a fixed rate that was below the ComEd rate of 7 cents per kilowatt hour. In the bids that, we want to guarantee a savings to go with that fixed rate option. And based on the bids that we got back, those numbers that we saw weren't able to guarantee a savings to our customers. So we were able to go with our pricing option B, which was the green aggregation program. So we are very pleased to announce that we have accepted a contract to go with the EPA certification minimum of green energy. So we'll be at 18% green energy with our electric aggregation program. And we will also receive a civic contribution I know that that was something that we kind of left undecided at our last meeting based on the conversations. So we will have a further discussion to decide what to do with the civic contribution. Please let me know if you have any questions on the electric aggregation program. We will be sending out mailers to customers soon to notify them of the new contract. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Do we know how much the civic contribution is going to be?
Yes, so the civic contribution is awarded on an annual basis. I believe the numbers are $381,868
Per year?
per year, yes.
Okay, so now who will decide? Does this committee decide or does somebody else decide what we do with that contribution?
We will be bringing that discussion item back to E&E for discussion as to what to do with that contribution.
Woohoo! Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, thanks, Ivy.
Yeah.
That
And
looks
also
good,
just
doesn't it?
just one last quick update before I hand it over to Jody. Jen and I have a rain barrel and compost bin pickup on Tuesday. So we worked with the Conservation Foundation to host a sale for rain barrels and compost bins at an affordable price. And we had a total of 260 orders, which is up from like around 60 orders, I think, from last year. So we were really pleased with the interest on that, and we'll have a pickup event for the public on Tuesday at the Leroy Oaks Nature Preserve Center.
Great. I'm going to mention that there's a plant sale tomorrow. The Conservation Foundation and the Fox Valley Park District are selling a lot of plants at Prisco Community Center from 9 o'clock to noon tomorrow. 60% off, beautiful plants for $2 a piece. If I didn't have a whole basement full of tomato seedlings right now, I'd go, but thanks, Ivy. So that's at Prisco and Aurora. Okay, moving along. What's next on the agenda? I always have to scooch back up. Let's see. Is this Jody?
Correct. The governor's energy plan solar language. I am filling in for Mark Van Kerkhoff today, who cannot attend the meeting. This item will also be for discussion at the Development Committee, the Legislative Committee, and Agricultural Committee. It's mostly informational, and it does pertain a lot to zoning, and that's why the item falls more under Mark Van Kerkhoff than myself. So I hope I do an okay job here trying to present this. We had a request from the Illinois State Association of Counties to comment specifically on the governor's energy proposal. What I've done is we're looking specifically at the zoning for solar type projects. And so it's a very large document, but I did pare it down, and what is in your packet is the summary of that section. I clipped out as well as boxed out in red the portion of the legislation that actually pertains to the county. So instead of reading a couple 100-page document, you just have the several pages with the notations specific to the discussion items that we wanted to bring forward to you today. So specifically, the energy proposal as it relates to solar does state that a county has an existing zoning ordinance in conflict with the new siting provisions for solar energy must amend their ordinance to be in compliance. In talking with Mr. Van Kerkhoff, and as we kind of reviewed the two solar projects that came through the county about 2 years ago, we specifically selected the option to not require specific requirements within our zoning provisions for solar facilities, and wanted to look at each solar facility on its own merits and establish requirements based on that. So in regards to the fact that the county's existing zoning ordinance being in conflict, this would not be an issue for Kane County. If you do recall those two projects that did come through, I know some of the county board members that have been here for a while probably remember those. Although there were only two projects, they were very distinct. We had one project in an area that was surrounded by gravel mines, which the conflicts with adjacent property owners were very minimal. And then we had a project that was in Plato Center that directly abutted existing homes within that area. So we had two very different discussions on those solar projects. And so looking at this proposed legislation, it does not allow the county to be more restrictive than what is proposed for the setbacks of a solar facility within the county. So if we were to have a proposal for a solar facility, it potentially would limit the setbacks we could require in a very restrictive area, such as the Plato Center example. So I've kind of highlighted those sections for you. The first section being on page 384, that we are not allowed to be more restrictive than the ordinance that would be put in place by the state. And the second one being on page 385, again, the county with an existing ordinance in conflict with this section would have to modify within 180 days. That would not particularly apply to us. 386 really speaks to our example of the residents in Plato Center. That would be, it's establishing non-participating residents at least 150 feet from the nearest point of the outside wall of the dwelling. What we had proposed in that solar facility in Plato Center was actually exceeding that. In addition, non-participating property lines at least 50 feet from the nearest property line. Again, the Plato Center example had exceeded that. It does provide in page 387, thank you for jumping those ahead, the use of pollinator seed mixes with the proposed developments. One thing that has come up specifically in Kane County with the solar facilities is the concern of existing tile drainage systems on the farmland where some of the solar facilities have been proposed, and the conflict with the deep-rooted pollinator seed mixes with these tile systems. So as part of the proposals within Kane County, we had specifically required that the drainage tiles within that facility be modified with solid pipe so that there's no impact on upstream or downstream farmers from these solar facilities. So again, that was an additional zoning requirement that we had requested. So in speaking with Mark, and I'm trying to paraphrase his example, is that oftentimes within the zoning process, there is a kind of a give and take and a negotiating with somebody to bring in a solar facility to the county. So he feels that many of these concerns could potentially be addressed with kind of, you're bringing this facility in here, they want to be a good neighbor. And so potentially you could increase setback requirements as just part of a handshake agreement with the solar developer. But again, just a discussion item we wanted to bring forward to let you know what was going on at the state level and the potential impacts here at Kane County. So I don't know if I can answer any questions, but if you have any specific questions or concerns, I could take those back and maybe do a little bit more research. Thank you.
So
I have
Jody,
a question, ma'am. Tom Copey.
sure, Mr. Copey, go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Bay. What I brought up a couple months ago about establishing a feasibility in regards to solar panel installation on actually a large scale for a revenue generator for the county, whereas the panels and the electricity that it produces. If that's close enough to the grid, then that could be offset some of our costs, electricity, which are, as far as I know, in dollars. In fact, I do know that. But That's just one aspect of.
Are you asking a question there? Or are you asking us to pursue that, do you mean? Mr. Copey? Well, I'll sort of, things are very quiet. Are you guys still there?
Yes.
Yeah, we're all here.
Okay, sorry.
We
I think-
lost Tom.
Okay, right. Okay, thanks. We did, when we presented this idea to Arnie Schrammel of Progressive, he came back with the idea of putting a 2 megawatt system on the Judicial Center to use our own property first. To do something with on a much, much larger scale would probably involve private property. And I mean, we can still look into it, but that's what Arnie came back with, was the Judicial Center property. Do you remember anything else about that, Jody?
Yeah, I think one of the issues that we ran up against is the fact that the county building the solar, being a non-taxing body, isn't eligible for the same kind of funding that these private companies can get. So one of the big challenges we would be competing with these companies that are getting these federal and state rebates, whereas the county is not eligible for those. And so that's a big challenge to overcome when you're trying to look at that for a revenue stream, because our initial investment cost would be much higher than a private company.
So that would be more like a private venture. But Mr. Copey, please call me anytime if you want to talk about this some more, and we can engage our consultants if we want.
Whoa, Nikki, please.
Sure, please.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. Jody, could you just kind of summarize that a little bit? Like, does it remove any county authority when for siting solar panels or for wind energy?
In speaking with Mark, the wind energy didn't seem to be, that came up many years ago, and there just aren't the sites eligible in Kane County for wind that would be productive enough. And so we felt that it was more important to focus on the solar piece. It does, by the language, prohibit us from, unless there's some sort of negotiating with a willing partner, from going beyond the setbacks that are in the state requirements. And so we could not force somebody to do a greater setback. It would have to be by agreement with that solar company.
From what I understand, not Kane County, but counties that are farther west are struggling with the idea of losing their authority as to where like wind energy would be placed. And this has become a big issue. So there are several counties, I believe, that are joining together to send a letter to the governor saying, we're not opposed to solar energy, we're not opposed to wind energy, but we want to keep our authority for siting solar and wind energy as to not adversely affect some farms or some homeowners.
And just to add to that too, in regards to the solar projects that did come out at that time, many of our surrounding counties did put in very detailed zoning requirements for the solar, and they will again lose most of those if they're more restrictive than this Consumer and Climate First Act.
Exactly. This is something we need to keep our eye on and possibly join the other counties that are just opposing, again, just losing their authority of where to site these solar panels or wind energy.
And that's the feedback we're looking for from the board members to respond to the Illinois State Association of Counties if we do want to join that effort.
Okay. Yeah, and how quickly do we need to move on that? Do you know?
I will have to find that out.
Okay, good, Jody.
This bill is trying to be passed by May 31st.
Oh, geez.
Quickly then.
Quickly. There we go.
This is the part of, there's 4 bills all in negotiation with each other. And we're trying, meaning Sierra Club, is and the environmental table is trying to get this passed this session, which ends on May 31st. So Madam Gums, Miss Gums, do you want to speak up? We will be discussing this in legislative also.
Yes, Maven. So today is a deadline date, and next Friday is also a deadline date.
Oh, geez.
Today they have to have all bills moved from the house. If it's a House bill, it would have to have been completed by today. So I would suggest making calls today. Also, there's a second deadline next Friday, and then everything will have to be wrapped up by the 31st. So time constraints are huge.
Okay. So this bill is ultimately moving forward because
well, it looks like it looks like it's stalled. However, the negotiations are very complex.
okay.
So it looks like it's stalled in I think assignments is where it sits right now, but it's really not. They are discussing it. So whatever happens, maybe by today,
Okay.
we'll get more information. And as we've been in this meeting, I've been texting legislators about different things on deadlines. So, but I don't have any answers yet. So,
Well, thank you,
this
Michelle.
is,
Yeah, real quick, Ms. Spates, I
Sure.
think that we should strongly consider a possible checking into other counties that have sent letters to the governor, emails to the governor regarding keeping our authority for the siting of the, again, solar and wind energy. And it sounds like we need to move kind of quickly on this. Yeah.
Ms. Bates comes.
yes, please.
If you would like, I believe we have that bill on legislative committee, which
Okay.
is set for next week. So we can perhaps, if you want to draft a resolution to get that opposition, that would be perfectly acceptable, I guess.
Boy, that would be great. Yeah, keep me posted. And if you want me to help you contact, I think maybe Kendall County was one that stepped forward with a letter supporting keeping their authority. And I can check into that. Okay.
Who would take the lead on that? Is that me or Miss Gums or?
Well, I could do it, except for, when there's legislation I know nothing about,
I know all about this. So.
You're my go-to for this kind of stuff, which is why I went to you. So, but yeah, if you wanted to.
I will have a resolution ready. Our agenda went in already for legislative, right?
We can bring Karen some coffee, maybe.
Okay, so we should do that today to try to get it onto.
Yeah, it has to be 48 hours before our meeting, so maybe
Right.
Wednesday.
It would have to be reposted by Monday morning.
Okay, resolution.
Karen's
Well,
like,
so
shut
we
up,
should do-
Michelle.
Yeah, you could
Today,
just add it to the agenda today. Yeah.
Repost by, okay, so really we have to get a resolution done today. Jody, can I call you later?
Yes, you may. I certainly don't want to step on Director Van Kerkhoff's toes though, because this is a zoning issue.
You want me to call him instead?
I want to make sure we're looping him in as well.
Okay, I'll call both of you after jobs, I guess.
All right. Thank
Is that
you.
all right?
Michelle and Ms. Bates, thank you.
Okay, thank you too.
You.
Okay, I believe, let me go back up to the top. Are there any, I always keep 2 computers going just in case. Let's see, so is there any public comment for today? Hearing none, seeing none. May I have a motion to place the reports on file?
Alan moves.
Caius and Alan?
Strathman second.
Strathman second, Caius first, Strathman second. We do not need any executive session today. Thank you very much, everybody, for all of your support for environment and energy. And may I have a motion to any other questions?
You need to vote on the reports.
Oh, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Please vote. Please call the vote.
Alan,
Alan, aye.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Winnicky,
Yes.
and Bates.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Who is that? Strathman?
Strathman, yes.
Strathman.
Molina seconds.
Molina seconds, great. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.